Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Life Hockey Juice Podcast. I'm your host, Juice, and I'm here with my co-host, the White Southern Rage to my NASCAR banning Confederate flags. Reen, what's going on?
Oh, man, that made me so happy this week. The announcement by NASCAR. I'm so excited.
A lot of this shit with the symbolism of just like, tearing down statues or this and that. Usually I'm like, okay, I'm not against it, but it's just a symbol. Like if this is the way, if this is the way to not enact change, but just tearing down a symbol, powers that be, they're kind of happy to do that because it's like, well, doesn't mean too much in the end. We don't have to do anything. But in this case, this takes balls, man, because their business model is based on these people, and they just basically stuck the finger to them, man.
Seriously, their entire base, it seems like, yeah, huge balls. I was so impressed. Like they came out of left field. Like we weren't even really thinking about them. Of course, like basketball, because of, stars like LeBron James speaking out and whatnot. You had the NFL speak out, but NASCAR wasn't even on the table with anybody.
Yeah, this almost feels to me, and I know you know more about this than me because you've been in the South and you've actually gone to a NASCAR event, which surprised me when you told me. But to me, this seems something like going to Tejano or Norteño type, Mexican band type concert and banning like cowboy boots and fucking hats, like. Dude, like this is what they do. This is their shit.
Exactly. You're right. It's exactly that. I didn't pay to go. The tickets were given to me because I work for a certain company, and we had Singular Wireless. I don't know if y'all are old enough to know that company or not, but yeah, Singular Wireless had race cars out. So I was able to go to the Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's quite an experience. Confederate flag everywhere, RVs everywhere. If you guys been to I was talking about it earlier, and now I forgot the word.
You're saying like football and tailgating?
Yes, tailgate. It's massive. It's bigger than that. It's huge. I mean, they could be out there for days waiting, and they're traveling from all over. And it's just a sea of like Confederate flags everywhere. And this is when it was back in the day. It was close to it was before 2000 because I came back in 2001. I came back to the West Coast in 2001. I used to live in South Carolina. I lived there for about 4 years when I was younger. And I experienced the NASCAR thing. I mean, I don't watch it on TV, but I got to, hang out and check it out. And yeah, I experienced that culture. It's a totally different world.
So anyone that might not believe that Reen is the real deal just based on her gym routine and some of the shit she tweets and the life she's lived, just know she went down to the goddamn South, the deep South, to live willingly.
I know. I've seen some shit, man. Some shit.
It's one thing to be a minority. It's another thing to be a minority that even minorities look at you and like, what are you again?
I know, right? I was always that girl.
Yeah,
you're not from around here. Can't figure you out. It's either black or white, especially then too, because it was way back in the day. Yeah, there's Chinese restaurants and there's some Chinese people there, but you didn't really see a whole bunch of, diversity. And it really shocked me when I went out there because I was coming from the military, Air Force brat, and coming from such a melting pot and then going out there, completely different world. The South is different. I mean, definitely if you guys want to go out there and check it out, there's some beautiful places to visit. But yeah, it's a culture shock.
And I hope you don't mind me saying, but it is funny when we've talked privately about some of your experiences in the South. Obviously, there's that stereotype of the racist whites in the South, and I'm sure you've encountered them in one way or another, but it seems like most people were cool with you just because they were confused by you.
Most people were cool. There were some confusion too, but I mean, that Southern hospitality is like real. It's so nice. I don't know how it is now with just certain things going on and certain, leadership. But I mean, when I was out there, it was pretty cool. I mean, we also had army bases. We had some Air Force bases within like an hour of each other too. So maybe that's another reason why it wasn't too bad when I was out there. We had Shaw Air Force Base, and then we had an army base in Columbia. So if y'all know that area, you know what I'm talking about. And plus, there was University of South Carolina out there too, which is really popular. Football out there, college ball is so popular. Clemson, they go all out. It's a fucking like festival, especially with college ball out there. But yeah, maybe that's the reason why, like I said, within an hour of each other, there's bases and there's diversity there too. So, but if you go in the deep, deep South, that's where you see a lot of that racism. Yeah. And I did experience that one time. It was kind of scary because I was the only, like, I guess, brown chick, definitely island girl. Yeah, I'm island girl. I'm not black. I'm not white. Like, can't figure me out. And just being out there, I was like, holy shit.
Even though you actually are part white, but
yeah, like I'm not part of them. Yeah, that was an experience that kind of freaked me out. Yeah, I was uncomfortable. Yeah, there are some places that are like that. They're still like that, man.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear you say these stories because although I am also a minority, I've basically grown up around quote unquote my kind. So I've never really experienced too much racism. Of course, I've been around white people and black people, and I've seen much racism, but I've never experienced it personally. So I'm always, I don't want to say fascinated because it makes it seem like it's some weird niche and I'm like drawn to it, but it is just interesting because it's something I haven't experienced. It's nothing I want to experience. Although words don't hurt me like that with people, but then again, of course, there's people who just talk shit and there's people who are threatening to you. So I understand there is a difference, but you guys want to come to these stories, you got to go with Reen, because that's why I'm racist against my own people. It's just like they just bug me. I've been around them too long. I need to get the fuck out of here.
So funny. I mean, I've seen racism on both sides. I mean, I went to Korea and my mom and I talked to this lady at the market because we went off base and went shopping, and we told her that we were Japanese, even though we're from Okinawa. We're Okinawan. And yeah, she just totally shut down and didn't want to talk to us because the Japanese wanted to kill off the Koreans. There's some beef there back in the day, and she's just like, I don't want to sell to you. And when we said, hey, we're actually from Okinawa, she just totally changed her tune with us. And I think I was like 13 years old at the time. I didn't really understand it, but after my mom explained it to me with the history one, I was like, okay, I get it. And then that was my first experience. And then years later, I think when I went out there to the South, I was like, 20 years old? Experiencing it again and seeing, I was like, oh, wow. Here it is. Here it is in this environment. It's not just, us and Asians.
Reasons, for totally different reasons. Like, I'm not saying it's justified, but with the Korean lady, like, there's a real history there with the Deep South is just like, you don't look like me, and that's about it.
Yeah. So just two different environments, two different things that are happening. Like, yeah, I experienced a couple sides there. Yeah. So with this all happening, it's like kind of triggering a little, things here and there. But what can you do? It's just sad that it's still happening. I'm at my age and I'm still seeing shit like this. Rodney King happened when I was in high school, and yeah, it's just sad. It's hard to talk about. I mean, I can go on and on, but it really is hard to talk about.
Duly noted. Again, I'm just kind of staying quiet because, again, I'm kind of ignorant to some of this.
Sorry. I don't want to talk about fights now. Like, we always go in like all these different directions, but I guess that's because, we're like passionate about what's going on in the world. And of course, we're passionate about fights and whatnot too. And, it's unfortunate. Like, we just can't seem to come together. I mean, even now we can't come together.
Yeah, but that's what the intros are for. We spill out some of our guts and some of our thoughts and feelings, and then people don't like it. They know they can skip 10 or 15 minutes and then get to the fight stuff. So this is not your first rodeo. You know what to do, and if it is, don't worry. This is gonna keep happening. Get used to it.
We'll still talk shit.
Yeah, and don't worry, and it's coming your way right now. So there's a lot to talk about. Actually, we just had a pay-per-view. We're having another card this week. Not great, but there's fights to talk about there. Some headlines and many, 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 many matchups. So let's just jump into it. So let's get breakdown with the rewind of UFC 250. One of the first fights we covered, one of the prelim fights, was Alex Perez and Jussier Formiga. And Jesus Christ, this is not at all what I was expecting from this fight.
I wasn't either. I expected more of a battle, and I did pick Juicy. It was a surprise, man. I mean, he just chopped those legs up. Smart move. I mean, I think that's twice now where somebody just came out and just started chopping the legs.
Yeah, second week in a row. There was a fight 2 weeks ago, I believe, with Chris Gutierrez. He won via leg kick TKO. I forget who the fighter was, but that was over, I think, 2 or 3 rounds. And Alex Perez did this shit quick. Was it first or second round? I don't even remember.
It was first round.
Damn.
Was it first round? No, I'm curious.
It was either late in the first or early in the second, but I know it was not more than 10 minutes for sure. I know it was not more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if I picked Jussier or not. Jussier has always just been such a threat on the ground that people never really got too comfortable with striking. Obviously, his striking is nowhere near as good as his ground game, so it's smart to strike with him because you should be able to win that battle. But people have never really gone in their groove that well against Jussier. And I mean, even Henry Cejudo, who probably should have taken that path with him, he was still wrestling him. So Jussier is he's kind of hard to look good against. And Perez, I think he's one of the first guys besides Benavidez who just made him look that bad. Benavidez is the only guy that's made him look bad like that.
Yeah, it was in the first round, and they got performance of the night. I mean, just looking at the numbers, like he was going after his head, and then the majority of it was the legs. It's crazy, man. Alex Perez. God, he's only like 28 years old, too. Juicy's getting up there. I think he's 35 now.
Yeah, he is not young. He's been in the game for a while, and he's been in the UFC flyweight division for a while. That hasn't even, that's not even that old of a division, but he's been in it basically from the jump.
Yeah, good on Perez. I totally got that one wrong.
So it looks like he's next in line. Obviously, Benavidez and Figueiredo are going to do it again, and God knows what's going to happen there. But assuming people make weight and the fight goes according to plan, I think he's for sure the next in line. But if you're Perez, what do you do? Because I think that fight's supposed to take place, what, July?
Yeah, July 18th. It is booked. So he would have to wait for that. He's currently on a 3-fight win streak, and someone else is on a 3-fight win streak and doesn't have a fight lined up yet because he has to wait for his mentor to get his belt, that vacant title, right? Joseph Benavidez is his mentor. So maybe he can fight Brandon Moreno for now, because he's waiting for a fight too. They're both in a good spot, 3-fight win streak. There's a storyline there too as well. I think that'll be a fun fight, man. And that's a huge step up too. Alex Perez actually jumped up like 5 spots in the rankings. I mean, who else would he fight? At this point, would you even go backwards? I would just like move forward and probably like campaign for that Moreno fight.
Wait, Joseph Benavidez is Alex Perez's mentor?
No, Brandon Moreno's mentor. I had no idea.
Me either. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, I guess they have this relationship. So he's like, I hope it stays intact, once they get to that point. Interesting, right? I'm like, whew, this is kind of like a cool storyline then. Because if Benavidez does win and maybe, Moreno wins, then you have the mentor and the vet going at it. And
was this based on the tough season?
I think so.
Because I know Moreno came from that, and yeah. I don't remember who the coaches were, but it may have been Cejudo and Benavidez, if I recall correctly.
Yes, that's when
the champions.
Damn. Yeah, they kept that relationship all that time. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's like Tony Ferguson and Brock Lesnar. Well, obviously, Brock Lesnar's been out of the fight game for a while, but I know they were always cool because he was his coach, and he always rooted for him, and Brock always had Tony Ferguson's back too. So yeah, that does happen. That's not the first time that's happened.
So, and I think Pantoja has a fight lined up anyways, and he's number 4. So, man, it's getting interesting at the top with the flyweight division. I just want them to hurry up and get this rematch done.
Yeah, and again, hopefully everything goes according to plan. I don't care who wins that fight, but just let the victory stand and let it mean something and let it be definitive.
Yes, exactly.
Next up, Chase Hooper got his ass kicked by Alex Caceres. I'm not too shocked by this. I mean, Chase Hooper is very young. When you're this young in the UFC, I think it's almost inevitable that something like this happens. He just got a little bit early on, but it was clear Caceres was the better striker, and Hooper couldn't really do much there. Very game though. He didn't just like curl up and just decide to coast or anything. He was in it. He was trying, but Caceres is such a veteran, so smart. This kid had nothing for him. Good performance by Caceres, but I'm wondering what happens to Hooper. Not saying he's done by any means. He's got so much life ahead of him, but I'm just wondering what his course of action should be after this.
Take a break, train a little bit more, utilize his legs. He has such long legs. Maybe practice using them, getting a little bit stronger, and possibly looking at going up in weight. Putting some muscle on. Because, I mean, he was fighting at lightweight until he entered the Contender Series.
Yeah, that tends to happen with the UFC. Whether you go in there last minute notice or you go through tough or something like that, you're good on the regional circuit, walking around more your natural weight. The training is not as prolonged. You probably have a side job, so you don't want to focus too much on making weight. So you kind of fight at a more natural weight. And then when you get to the UFC, these guys are bigger, badder, stronger, more skilled. So you tend to go down a weight class to use your physical advantages. But it's interesting you said that about his legs and his size, because I think that is the two possible options is either go up in weight, which I don't think you're ever too young to do. I think it could benefit him, and that way he could focus more on his skill and his regimen more than just cutting weight that's going to cut into your time, or go the Khalil Roundtree route and get Bangkok ready.
Go to Thailand?
Yeah, I mean, go to a boxing trainer, go train boxing for an extended period of time. Try and go with Roach or something, Teddy Atlas, or go to Thailand or go to a really renowned Muay Thai gym somewhere to get his striking better. Go full K1 Maya, hopefully with better results.
Seriously. Yeah, it was painful to watch. He was just getting tagged and he didn't know what to do. He was just keeping his, head on the center line way too much. And it was just 1-2, and there's really no follow-up with him too. He had really no combination. I don't know if you noticed that as well. I'm like, God, he's trying to get in, but he stops once he gets in. He's hesitant to throw additional punches. Yeah, he's still young. He's going to be 21 in September. I mean, he's not even legal to drink yet, and he's fighting a vet. He's pretty much lived in the UFC, grew up in the UFC, right? He's been around for over 10 years now? Caceres? He's been around for a while.
At least 9.
Yeah, go to Thailand, get some vitamin D, maybe some girls, lay off the M&Ms. Go have fun.
You're gonna bring M&Ms into his downfall? Come on.
No, I did pick him to win too, but yeah, that was sad, man. It was a sparring session.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember too with his performance, he's not a striker. Obviously, we all know that. Yeah. And his game is jiu-jitsu, and he's phenomenal at that. Obviously, Caceres can handle his own on the ground. And as far as the striking goes, I don't think he's a terrible striker, but yeah, his striking only served his grappling. He never meant for his striking to be okay, I'm going to be good on the feet, and if it doesn't go to the ground, I'll be ready for this. His game was always have my striking just decent enough to stand here for a while till I can get him to the ground until they take me down.
Yeah.
He needs to get in that Charles Oliveira mindset of I'm going to just go buck wild at the striking. If they take me down, good. And if they don't, I'll take them down eventually.
Right. Or even just learn leg kicks, man, and just try to maybe use those to help, create opportunities to take it to the ground. Just start throwing those kicks.
Yeah, and you don't have to get worried about getting taken down or shit, even tripping. You could trip and you'll have them where you want them.
Exactly. So did you see what he tweeted to Ben Askren afterwards? So Ben Askren tweeted, "Time for a baby funk. Let's go, Chase." And then after his fight, "Sorry, Pops. Glad at least I got my mom's chin, though."
Oh, shit.
I love him. Shit. I love him.
This
He's so funny.
This little fucker, man. Oh, man. I know Ben Askren has a sense of humor. I do respect that about him. But if I was him, I'd be like, "Come here, kid. We need to talk. You're an asshole."
Got my mom's chin, though.
Good one. That's a good one.
Roasted. Yeah, so good kid.
I hadn't seen that tweet, but now Chase Hooper, you get player hate of the week. Good job.
Awesome.
Just like that. I'm gonna need a link for that later. But yeah, anyway, next fight. Sean O'Malley opened up the main card, and boy, did he fucking open it up. Um,
Damn,
okay,
dude.
okay. So this wasn't the only spectacular knockout on this card, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in just a bit. But this for sure has to be a knockout of the year contender, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought it was going to go a little bit longer than that.
Well, nobody does that to Wineland. Even Henan
Yeah.
Barao, when he was Henan fucking Barao at this point. He spinning kicked him in the face, and he was still standing. I mean, he fell, but he wasn't out. He still had to take a couple punches on the ground. And even then, Eddie Wineland still kind of stood up and kind of protested.
Mm-hmm.
There was no protesting here. He got knocked the fuck out, dude. This does not happen in Wineland. He has faced everybody in the game, and he's been finished, but not like this.
That was wild. I watched that over and over again, trying to figure out how did he land that? How much power did he generate? It was like a short little punch.
Well, it was all precision. His angle was perfect. And then it didn't help that Wineland did not see it coming at all. He did not brace for it, not even a little bit.
It like a little feint, and then he just threw that punch, and I was like, holy shit.
Right to the temple, right down the center line, at a good angle where he could generate all his power. It was beautiful. I kind of said after his last fight that I'm kind of done talking shit about him. And he comes in with that Tekashi 6ix9ine hair, and I need to talk shit about him, and then he does that, and it's like, fuck.
You gotta respect that, because Eddie, like, he's a power puncher. He's a vet. He's been around. Like,
and he's tough. He's really tough.
That was so wild to me. Just the way he got knocked out. Wow. Like, okay, big dick energy, man, right there. Like, how? Damn, dude.
Did you get that from Ash, from the MMA nerd? I've been seeing her say that a lot too. I was like, is this just a thing going on with women on MMA Twitter, or I don't know who started that, but she says it a lot too. She loves him.
He just has that about him, like his character about him, and the way he was talking too. He's just like, I wanted to make my debut and maybe possibly have wild hair, but no, I didn't want to do that because it's been a while since I've been out, and I didn't want to, make myself look like an asshole or douchebag or anything. So I wanted to wait to do my hair, or something, or be a character.
He said something about his face tattoos too, I think, before his last fight. He said something like, yeah, that is something that he had in mind, but he didn't want to do it straight out of the jump just because he had 1 or 2 UFC fights. Like, he wanted to establish himself. And it goes to show, obviously, we've known he's had some confidence since the jump, but confidence never really means as much to me if I don't see a lot backing it up. And not that he was bad in his when he first came on the scene, but I'm like, he's good, but I've kind of seen this before. And as soon as he came back, I kind of thought it was probably he just had something to prove, but no, his confidence is coming from he knows how much he's improved. He knows how good his skill set is, and he knows that it's going to continue to get better. And that's scary, to be honest. I know he doesn't look like an intimidating figure, but that boy knows how to fight, and he's in love with it. You can tell.
Yeah, he's calculated about it, I mean, in and out of the cage. So he's dangerous. I can't wait. I don't know what's next for him. It sounds like he's trying to campaign to get this Cody fight. I don't know if that's too soon for him or not. I think people are calling to see if, Marlon and Cody can go at it.
I'd be down for that. I'd be for Marlon and Cody seem to make the most sense.
Yeah.
Especially because Cody was coming off his skid, and then he did what he did, and then Marlon beat Aldo, but nobody really thinks he did, and he's coming off the loss to Cejudo, so they're kind of in this weird territory, like, all right, they're good, but let's see how good they are.
Yeah.
O'Malley has so far to go. I mean, whoever you put him up against, it can be someone in a similar ranking or below him or above him. There's many ways to go with him. Not that him and Cody would be rushing, because I really think he is that good, but let's build to that a little bit.
Yes, build it. Yeah, it would be a fun fight. I would love to watch it, but maybe at this point, just hold off. I was looking at the rankings. He just debuted this week, ranked number 15, so he's top 15 right now. I was looking at it, and I'm thinking maybe like a John Dodson because that's a name.
Oh,
If
that's
you want to
right.
build him up, build Sugar up, you could possibly hand him to John Dodson like they did with Peter Yan. I mean, after he fought, John Dodson, look where he's at. Like he's going to be up there and getting a title shot, right? So maybe they can do that with O'Malley, or maybe give him Rob Font, which is another name too. But yeah, it'll be interesting, man. I know he wants a quick turnaround and he wants more money. He was talking about that. He knows that he's worth more, so he's going to go back and negotiate and see what they can do.
Yeah, we're gonna
But
talk a lot about money issues later because that seems to be a thing right now too. But just because I love the prospect versus prospect type fights. I'd love to see him versus someone like Song Yadong. Let's see who the real deal is.
that would be a fun fight too, but I don't think that's something that would excite him, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't really do anything. In his eyes, it doesn't really do anything. He wants a name.
Well, Song Yadong is just so exciting. I don't think
I
you even
know.
need to know who Song Yadong is. It's just like, hey, this is gonna be a banger right here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll see if what they campaign for. And like looking at this, and Jimmy Rivera, Pedro Munoz is out there, Cody Stamen. That's about it. Dominic Cruz is going to be out. He's going to be out for a while, so I don't even know why he's here. He's still in the rankings. We'll see what happens to Sugar. The Sugar Show.
Next up, Neil Magny took a unanimous decision win over Anthony Rocco Martin. Good fight, good win. Nothing bad to say about Magny. Martin put up a good performance too. He had some moments, but Magny's cardio, his toughness, his experience, just too much. Kind of the story of all his wins. It always seems to be the story of his wins. It's too tough, too durable, and too experienced. Give Martin credit. He did pretty good. My concern with this, though, is he did get hurt in this fight, and he dominated Jing Lang, but it's one of those, there was nothing wrong with that fight. He did very good, but he worked so hard. I'm kind of like wondering, I know Magny's kind of like Cowboy, that he wants to fight all the time, especially right now that they're kind of just putting on fights out of nowhere. I'm sure this is the type of shit that he loves, but I'm kind of wondering, because of his age, because of some of the knockouts he's had, if he should take a little time off right now, like just to regroup a little bit. Because I think he was saying too, he talked about having like concussion issues, and I'm kind of getting worried right now. Like, I hope that's not a thing that he this kind of does him in, because he keeps taking late, short notice fights.
Yeah, maybe he should at this point. Like he's another one that, has debuted in the top 15. He's ranked number 15 now. So good for him. He's still trying to get the Chiesa fight. So he's still asking for that, but who knows who he'll get next. But yeah, I think maybe he should slow down a little bit. Rocco did give him some problems, but like you said, his, Magny's cardio is just far superior than anybody else's in that division, I believe. And then later I found out that I guess his fight was probably going to get stripped too, because of the whole COVID issue with Ian's cornerman, because I guess he got in contact with them too. So I wonder if that had some issues with this performance. I don't know, just challenges with maybe focusing. But yeah, he didn't think he was going to fight. That's stressful, man, under these conditions,
Yeah, you have a point there. I hadn't even thought about that. So still, the fact remains though that he has taken some damage, and just an issue of how to address that is. I mean, I think the reason we said, I think when that fight happened with Jing Lang, the reason he looked so good, I think, is because he'd taken some time off. He'd gotten knocked the fuck out by Ponzinibbio like a year and a half before that. So him being able to take that time, I know it sucked because it was USADA and it wasn't necessarily warranted, but maybe it was a blessing in disguise because he was able to rest his body up a bit. I just don't want that shit to happen to him again,
Yeah, I hear you. You're a good dude. So yeah, take your time, dude. You're in the top 15 now. Finally, get that spot back.
Okay, I think you're gonna have to lead here with the next fight that we're supposed to talk about.
The apology to Aljo. Apology to Aljo.
Did you pick him?
Yes.
You did. Oh, God. Yeah, I know I picked for Sandhagen just because I totally marked out, and I said that on the show. I tweeted that night, and Jesus Christ, man! Even after it happened, I'm still like, It was a quick finish. Fuck you. You ain't shit.
God damn it. No respect, man.
No. I was just like, I know. I was just mad. But of course, that's ridiculous. He's a. I've always known he's a good fighter. I don't know. It's just something about him that really, really bugged me. I think he just tried to kind of similar to how like same thing with Sean O'Malley. I will not say a bad thing about him because as fighting skill wise, he's got it. That was my thing. Is like I think he was kind of all show and not all flair and not a lot of substance. Aljo kind of gave me that same feeling when he first started. And I just couldn't really get over it. But I may not be the biggest fan of his game, but fuck, it works, man. It works, and he knows what to do. And I like that he's gone his own way about it because the Serra Longo guys have kind of had this prototype. He really made his own style. It took him a while. First, he was basically just a grappler. He just had some decent submissions. Then he tried to become like a kickboxer with no real skill. Now, then it became kind of just volume. And if he got a kickboxing match, he would just throw volume, and it worked out for him. But now it's like, fuck, man. I think he's got it all.
That was so quick. And just the way he put that triangle on him, the body triangle on him, and oh my God. It was like a boa constrictor. Like, he wasn't going to let go at all. That was so nasty, man. And then, what was it? It was like a neck crank at the beginning, and then he just fighting to get under the chin. And then once he got it, it was all over. And Cody just went out. Poor guy. He didn't even know where he was after he got up.
I mean, he fought a Sun Sao, last year, right? That was last year at the... Mm-hmm. And Sun Sao is a very decorated jiu-jitsu guy and a very good grappler. And he tried like hell to get him to the ground and do his thing. And Sandhagen was just not having it. And it only took Sterling, 2 minutes? Mm-hmm. Well, to get him down took 30 seconds, maybe less.
Yep.
He just bull rushed him. It was impressive. So Sterling, I apologize. I also apologize for videotaping you across the pool because I was so scared to say anything to you because, I didn't want you to beat my ass after all the bad shit I said about you.
I saw that going around.
Yes, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, look up Aljamain Sterling's Twitter. There was this guy who filmed him from across the way, really focusing in on his abs and his body, 50 feet away. It was really awkward and creepy. It was so odd. It's so funny. And he said something like, "Yeah, just come over next time, bro. This isn't weird at all."
His interview was cringe. It was going so well, and then I heard that part. I'm coming on your ass.
Oh,
come on.
Well, he's psyched up, man. I mean,
I know.
Number one contender. He's got the biggest win in his career. Obviously, he's been very vocal about the stuff happening in the streets and stuff. So I think it was just way too many emotions. I even give him a pass for that.
You just had an awesome, spectacular finish, and then you're watching it right now. But still cool. That's just his personality. That's his character.
So again, Aljo, I apologize and take a seat. Take your shoes off. It seems to be the trend now. I will wash your feet. God damn. If that cleanses me of my sins, I will do it, Aljo.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry to you, sir.
Sorry.
And for everything, no, my people never did anything to you. But anyway, that's not the point. I'm just trying to cleanse myself of my sins. But anyway, yeah, that was that. Aljamain, clearly next guy in line. And even Dana gave him the credit. He basically just said he's just got to wait now because there's no way I can deny him anymore. So good for you, Aljo. Keep going on with the bantamweights. Cody Garbrandt is back. He scored a fantastic knockout of Rafael Sunsao. That was the big debate that night of who had the more spectacular knockout, O'Malley or Garbrandt. And I think just because of the opponent, Garbrandt had it. But as far as the beauty of the knockout and the timing and the precision, I think O'Malley takes. So it's hard. It's do you go with how pretty it looked and how effective it was, or do you go about who the level of opponent that they did that with?
Yeah, two different looks. Exactly. His was more like, God damn, that was like an angry, like, came from like,
I mean, it was Wall Street. It was straight out of the fucking backyard, you know? It was straight out of
right?
my grandmother's house.
He said, ah, like came out all the way from the back. Like he was pissed. Like, I'm gonna fucking, you wanna come over here, get in the phone booth with me? Okay, let me just hit you real quick.
Straight from the
Like,
backwoods of Ohio.
right? Like, God damn, dude. I don't know if he's back. You know, that's on the docket, and I've been thinking about it and thinking about it. And like, I don't know if he's back because I kind of want to see a longer fight. I want to see a little bit more from him, and I'm still left with, okay, well, does he have wrestling? Does he have other tools in the shed? Like, will he be able to keep up with the top fighters? Like, is he going to get knocked out? Is it going to be like a win one now and lose one later? Is this what his roadmap's going to be? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm with you there. I'm so conflicted too because it's hard to look good against the Sun Sal. Even Marlon Moraes, who finished them and did all amazing shit when he beat him he was on 8-fight win streak or whatever he was on. He kind of had his Sun Sal was giving him a good fight too, and it was similar in this. Like it reminded me of that. Obviously, the Sun Sal lost a little bit of his juice. He lost to Moraes. He lost to Sandhagen lately, and now this. But the fight was pretty close. I mean, I know some people had it 1-1 or shit. Even I know some people that even had it Garbrandt losing that fight. I don't know if I agree with that, but I at least see where they could come from because the Sun Sal was doing work too, and I think he was even outlanding him. But then that haymaker came and he knocked him the fuck out, and a Sun Sal hasn't been knocked out like that in almost 10 years. Like this is not a guy with a glass chin, and it's clear that the skills are there. The skills were always there with Cody, but he's brought him out again. So, I mean, it's nothing new. We knew that he had power. We knew that he was a skilled striker. Obviously, we know that he can kind of keep in his emotions a little bit. But Sun Sal's a cool dude. He doesn't talk shit and he doesn't try to make things personal. So yeah, I'm with you there. It's hard to know. Like he had a good performance against a good, kind fighter who wasn't gonna try and bring out the worst in him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if TJ Dillashaw is ever going to come back. I know some people talked about that. If he comes back, they should fight again. On the surface, that sounds really stupid to me. But then again, obviously, there's issues of the questions of was TJ clean during those fights, and then there's still that animosity. So can Cody ever, keep his emotions in check? It's an interesting question, but yeah, as we talked about earlier with the whole O'Malley thing, what's next for Cody? I would think a fight like Aldo would be perfect for him right now. But obviously he's getting a title shot, so that's not in the question. But yeah, I'm trying to think.
Maybe that Marlon fight would be interesting then, and then we get to see maybe other tools in the shed and without any emotions. Because if you go back to that TJ fight, there's going to be emotions there again, and I don't really want to see an emotional Cody Garbrandt. I want to see this Cody. He was technical and he was patient, but I want to see a little bit more. I hope Marlon would be that person to be a great, dance partner, and we can see a little bit more of Cody.
I hope that if they do that fight, it better be 5 rounds because Moraes' issue as of late has been his cardio. We know how talented he is and how dangerous he is in the first round or two. And Cody, we saw his fight against Dominic Cruz. He can go 5 rounds and do it spectacularly. So I want to see if he has that juice again for 5 rounds, and Moraes too. See if he's actually improved his cardio now.
Doesn't he work with Mark Henry too?
Yeah, I guess in Garbrandt's case, it shouldn't be too much of an issue because he's still working with Alpha Male too. So yeah. I don't know if that's the thing of that Mark Henry might kick him out or Garbrandt might just say, okay, I'm gonna just stay home for this one. But obviously he has a good relationship with Mark, and then I don't know what his outlook is of fighters, teammates fighting each other. Because he has kind of a small team. He never really has that issue because basically only has like 1 or 2 guys at lightweight and then 1 or 2 guys at featherweight. And, it's never been like that much of an issue. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Interesting.
And last up, the main event, Amanda Nunes absolutely demolished Felicia Spencer. I love Amanda Nunes. She is the GOAT. She is a treasure to watch, even in fights like this, which aren't like the most entertaining. Shit, even the Durandamy fight, which definitely was not entertaining. It's still beautiful to watch in a way because you're watching history. But she beat down my girl, man, and that's not cool.
Wait, You're just giving her praise, and now you're like, no, man.
I feel like Pat Robertson talking about Trump. Have you seen that video?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna get slightly political again, but yeah, Pat Robertson, if you guys don't know, is this televangelist, one of those preachers on TV, and as many right-wing preachers, he supports Trump, but he really got mad when he did that photo op with the Bible and all that, knowing that he gassed the preachers and stuff, and he went on just like an 87-year-old man, and he was doing this video, and he's like, he's calling governors jerks for not controlling the crowds. So you can't do that, Mr. President. That's not cool. You gotta watch the video if you haven't seen it. It's fucking priceless. But that's what I felt like after Nunes won. Like, you can't do that, Amanda. That's not cool, man.
God damn it. Okay, I gotta look it up. That's funny.
I would have swore you seen this, but man, I started dying laughing. I heard people talking about it. I'm like, it can't be that funny. And I see him like, holy shit, he really said it. They're like 85-year-old white dudes. Like, that's not cool, Mr. President. But yeah, I had my Pat Robertson moment seeing that with Amanda Nunes. I love her, but you don't take out my girl like that, man. That was hard to watch.
Oh my God, Felicia, amazing. Tough girl. A lot of heart.
I'm really glad you say that, because I was about to say, what does it say about me that the more Felicia Spencer gets her ass kicked, the more I like her, and like honestly, the more it turns me on.
I mean, it's
the fucking psychopath. That woman is so tough. It's ridiculous how tough she is.
Too tough for her own good. It seems like. I didn't look at the numbers until afterwards, because I saw a lot of people saying maybe the coaches should throw in the towel, maybe they should stop this fight, and and I'm like, why? She's a fighter. I would be pissed if my coaches stopped the fight. This is my title fight. I would be pissed. But now looking at the numbers, I'm like, maybe they should have.
Oh no, they definitely should have. And the end of the fourth round, I'm like, they need to talk to her. Like, I really don't think she should go out anymore. Like, why? Like, especially with the way that Amanda came on so strong, like she's just getting lucky, and she just has enough fight left in her to stay in there. But she's not gonna fight back. Like, she's fighting back to somewhat defend herself, but she's not fighting back to win. Like, there's no path to victory for her here. She tried her best with the grappling. That's not working out. She's never gonna outstrike her or knock her out. So let's just call it. Like, let's save her. I tweeted that before the fifth round. Like, she knows how tough she is. We don't need to see any more of it. We know how tough she is. And now she knows how far ahead of her Amanda Nunes is. What is another 300 seconds of assault going to do for her?
Right. Yeah, she took 73% of the damage to the head with this fight. I think with the Chris fight, it was about 53%. That's a lot. The strikes thrown is about even with Amanda and Chris. But yeah, I mean, both sides, like the standing and taking it to the ground, like Amanda was playing with her. She was having fun out there. That's a totally different Amanda. She's Amanda 2.0. I mean, the way she was smiling, her cardio is there. It's on point. She spent a lot of time on the ground, which I was very happy with, because I still question her ground game even after the GDR fight. So I'm glad she, stayed on the ground and still kept her cardio intact. So this is Amanda 2.0 to me.
I'm glad you said that earlier too about, you wouldn't have wanted it stopped if you were her, and you kind of felt for her in that situation. Then when people were talking about getting it stopped, because usually I have my reservations when it's a female fight, because I feel like people are quicker to jump the gun on early stoppages, because you don't want to see girls get beat up and stuff. I think there's just that inherent thing that you want to quote unquote care for a woman, so you don't want to see them too beat up. But I by the fourth round of that, I was like, I'm feeling this way, because this is just a brutal beating, man or woman. I mean, it was reminding me a lot. It wasn't as bad, but it was reminding me a lot of like the Anthony Smith fight. Okay, we all kind of wanted to see that fight done, and I don't see much difference here as far as how it's gonna go. So yeah, they should probably just stop this. And it's one of the first times that I felt like that in a woman's fight, honestly, because I know a lot of people complain like the number one thing is Shevchenko and Cachoeira. And honestly, when that fight was happening, I'm like, should that fight have been stopped sooner? Yeah. But was this, to me, honestly, I know I'm going to get shit for this, but I don't think it was this egregious stop. Yamasaki is not a good ref, but I don't think that was the worst performance he's ever had. Yeah, she was outmatched, but I knew that was going to happen from the jump. I always said that if you're going to be mad at anybody, be mad at the UFC because they knew the kind of opponent they were throwing in to a killer like Shevchenko. So I'm not mad that the ref kind of let the fight go on. The UFC knew what they were doing by having her take that fight. But yeah, again, sorry, just to kind of went on a rant there. But yeah, thank you for saying that because I did not get those feelings during this fight because yeah, I kind of wanted to see it stop. Even though I know how tough Spencer is. But I just hope it's one of those things. I hope this didn't ruin her. What it might do to your confidence, and then obviously what it could do to your health. Such a doozy. Yeah, just I mean, okay, oh, you know that you have ways to go to beat this girl, but also that can just flatten your confidence, and then obviously it's gonna take her a few months to recover. That was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, health is important, so yeah, definitely take your time. And she stood toe to toe with the best, Amanda and Chris. She lasted 3 rounds with Chris, 5 rounds with Amanda. Now we know she's a tough girl. We know she has a lot of heart. We know what you're capable of. Just please take your time, girl. Like you're gonna be around. You're a fan favorite. You're gonna be around. So just take care of yourself.
I will say this: even in defeat, there's not one woman in that locker room that sees Spencer and goes, "I want to fight her next."
Right? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Probably dudes that wouldn't want to fight her. It's like, fuck, she's never gonna give it, dude.
She fought Chris and Amanda. Come on. God damn. Just give her some time, a little bit more training. And yeah, see what happens. In the meantime, just feed Megan to Amanda. Let's get that over with.
She could have, and I know this is a high kind of a pipe dream, but she can have kind of like a Max Holloway resurgence. Some people, I knew Max Holloway was talented when he came in the UFC, but he got fed to the lions early on, and he came back and regrouped and became this killer and shit. This is what the type of thing, the cliche, what champions are made of. You get tossed to the best out there, it can make or break you. In the case of Holloway, it made him. And then there's other people who were in this 7-8 fight winning streak. They had one loss and then they never recovered. So yeah, obviously this isn't her first loss, but we'll see. This is gonna be a lot to come back from. But Spencer, if I see you, I would cuddle you and I'd give you a T-shirt. I fought a lioness and all I got was this damn T-shirt. At least Nunes was nice enough to let her hold the belt for a second. God, that was it was so sweet and so demoralizing at the same time. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's fucking evil.
I know some people are talking shit about it, and I'm like,
Nunes is such a nice girl. It's like, yeah. I really think she meant that, but also the fact, the way she smiles during her fights and the fact she just has so much fun. It's like, maybe she's got a little evil in her. We don't know. It's tough to know. Those Brazilians are tricky like that.
Well, with this one, I felt like, now she has a purpose. Now from here on out, she really has a purpose. Like she's fighting her for her baby girl. Totally different animal when you're at that point. Your mind changes.
I felt that too as she was doing it. I'm like, oh man. Because like this was, I guess, similar to the Durandamy fight. Wasn't as violent. But yeah, the Durandamy fight, let's be honest, I'm going to say she kind of phoned it in a little bit. She took the easiest path. Right here, she wanted to show out. She was here to perform, to put on a performance. Oh, I know that that's just my opinion, but that's how I felt about it. So congrats, Amanda. Hope you and Nina are, I don't know when the baby's due, but whenever that's due, I hope you guys have a healthy baby. And Nunes should probably take some time off and enjoy her motherhood, and we'll see what happens with the title picture with the next contender soon. Moving on from the rewind, we're going to jump into the preview, another UFC Apex card headlined by Cynthia Calvillo and Jessica Ai. First up, 2 female fights in addition to the main event. Well, one girl we really like and another one that I'm psyched on, but first fight, Julia Avila is back. We've been talking about her for a while. She's finally back and is going to fight Gina Mazzani. I think we announced this on the last show because it was a last-minute replacement with Mazzani. Now it's time to pick. So pretty clearly, I got Avila. I think I know your pick here too.
Yeah. Sorry, Manzani. Sorry, Gina. The short notice fight for Gina.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
Mazzani is
tough.
Gina Mazzani is not the greatest fighter in the world. I have no problem, saying that. But
Hmm.
I don't think this helps her much.
Yeah,
I don't think
tough.
this helps her much to take these short notice fights.
Right. I mean, good for her for returning to the UFC. I guess she left for one fight. She went back to King of the Cage, and now she's back fighting against Avila, I forgot who she was supposed to fight. Anyways, she hasn't fought since like last July. It's been a minute. That's when the earthquake happened. Remember that?
Yeah, the geologist telling us about earthquakes.
Yeah. So, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raging Panda. Excited to see her back again.
Yeah, me too. Next up, girl I've been high on for shit over a year now. The crazy Kazakhstani Maria Agapova making her UFC debut against another late notice opponent. And fuck, this is not going to be an easy fight, but it should be fun. Hannah Cyphers replacing Melissa Gatto, who was replacing, I'm forgetting who the original girl was. I think Carol Rosa. So yeah, 3 opponent changes, but man, this is the best fight they could have picked out of all of them. So I'm an Agapova mark. I will admit, I know marking out hasn't done well for me lately, but I'm still going with the Kazakhstani here.
Man, why they gotta do this to Cyphers? Man, she just fought on the 30th.
Well, she wants it, obviously. I mean, oh
I
yeah, turn
know.
right. Damn, I wonder if her knee's okay.
I know.
I
Yeah,
honestly,
I feel sad. It's cool that she's getting another fight. It's short notice. The other gal is what, debuting? Is she still young? I mean, Cyphers did look pretty decent, against Dern, but this is such a quick turnaround. I'm gonna
but
go with Cyphers because I still cheer for her. So
obviously, I said I'm going to Agapova. Here's something though. I know I'm going for her. I'm not asking you to make a case for her. Just something I'm just kind of wondering out loud. Obviously, there's always the case of the octagon jitters and stuff. This is her first fight, but given that this is going to be at the Apex with no one around, do you think this can help someone like Agapova, someone making their debut against a really tough girl like Cyphers, just mentally?
maybe, but I wonder because it'll be her first time in a quiet arena like this, right? A quiet setting.
Well, she's coming from Invicta, and I'm pretty sure the Invicta, the Memorials Hall arena
Mm-hmm.
that they do it. I've never been there, but I'm gonna say it's probably a similar size to this venue. Obviously, a little bit more people.
Yeah, more
I,
people.
I think the setting is somewhat
Oh,
similar.
yeah. Well, less people here. I don't know. Smaller cage, fighting a
That
vet. She was preparing for somebody else. She was preparing for another gal before that. Like two different opponents, right? This is her third opponent. So I wonder.
I love as again. I love Agapova. I'll say it a million times. I love her, and I think she poses a problem to many girls. But yeah, all these issues that she's heading into, and then remember, this was originally supposed to be in her home country of Kazakhstan. Because of the pandemic, everything got fucked up, and I mean, visa issues. I wonder she shit even now she's going to the country. I don't know how, but maybe there's been some turmoil there too that she's had to deal with personally. It's a tall ask. I would not be surprised if Cyphers wins because of how good, how tough, and just being a UFC vet that can help her. I just think Agapova is just crazy enough to get it done. And Agapova's already fought Tracy Cortez, who is also in the UFC, so it's not like her first step up in competition. Like there, she was on the Contender Series as well. She's fought in this arena before.
Gotcha. Yeah, good fight though. Interesting. Quick turnaround for Cyphers.
Yeah, I think. Well, I know I for sure will be happy regardless of who wins, but I
Yeah.
think you'll finally get to appreciate if Agapova shows up. The Agapova I know,
Uh huh.
I know you'll become a fan. Win or lose, I
Okay.
know you'll be a fan. Just her looks, just the way she looks is just so fucking crazy. Giant chest tat, gauged ears, like this wild. She looks like a cave woman, honestly. Like it's like fuck, dude. Like you're from another century. She fights like a maniac too. As I've said before, she kind of reminds me of Leslie Smith, and we'll talk about Leslie Smith in a while too. But she's like the closest person I can come to that.
Holy shit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Good luck, Hannah.
Again, we'll see a lot of factors coming into this. Not an easy fight for either of them. Not an easy fight for sure. That does it for the prelim sections of the card. Next up, Charles Jourdain is fighting Andre Fili. I had forgotten. I didn't remember the name of Charles Jourdain, and then I saw on his Tapology that he was the one that knocked out Doo Ho Choi, and that's all I needed to know to get excited for this fight, because Andre Fili's been looking phenomenal, and if you can knock out Doo Ho Choi and Andre Fili knocking out Shaman Moraes last year, fuck, this should I think this has fight of the night written all over it.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun fight. Man, Fili's been around though, even though he's like 29. He's been around the block, man, and he did look pretty good with Sodiq Youssef, even though he lost that fight. I'm just going to go with Fili. He's a Sacktown boy. I just got to go with him. He has more fights in the UFC. Even though Jourdain knocked out Doo Ho Choi, he's only been in the UFC, three fights now? He's only had 3 fights, so. And Doo Ho Choi, he's been out, a year? Right? After he fought Cub Swanson? Was it Cub?
It was a while, and then he fought Stevens. Yeah, I think he did the military thing. Then he fought Stevens, and then after he got knocked out by Stevens, I think it was like 9-10 months. Fought Jourdain, got knocked out by him. I could be wrong, but yeah, he's had extensive layoffs over his past 2 or 3 fights.
Mm-hmm. So, and then just Fili being so active, and then under Uriah. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Fili. Fili, touchy.
Yeah, I think I like Jourdain, and I like what I saw, but still not. I can't buy that stock yet. There's still some things I need to see, so I'll go with. Usually, Fili was kind of inconsistent because he'd lose one, win one, lose one, win one type thing, but I have a little bit more faith in him in this one. So yeah, I think Fili will take it. I don't know how. It could be a brutal knockout. It could be a submission. It could be a crazy decision. I don't know, but I think it'll be entertaining nonetheless. Co-main event: Marvin Vettori is going to fight Carl Roberson. Sorry, not Robertson. Well, these two guys got some beef going on back a few months. I don't know what. Well, someone pulled out, and I think Vettori had gone real mad, and all kinds of weird shit happened.
You didn't see that video? They had an altercation in the hotel lobby.
Yes, but I don't remember what caused it.
Robertson pulled out, and when he could have possibly made weight, but no, I think, they had to shut it down. But Vettori was hella mad, and I guess he was talking shit in the lobby, and that set him off even more. So yeah, they still got that beef. Robertson's like, I don't even know why he's even all that mad, but whatever, bring that energy. And Vettori's just like, yep, I'm here to fuck him up. I didn't want a different fight. I wanted this fight. I'm here to fuck him up.
I like it. We'll see what happens. I think I'm just gonna go with Robertson here. I'm not a fan of guys missing weight, but from that video I saw and just Vittori's demeanor, he just seems kind of like an asshole. So I'm kind of just marking out, just going out for Robertson. And he damn near killed Glover Teixeira.
I'll go with Vettori.
You still mad at him for nearly killing your boy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vettori.
But he revived. He came back and killed him.
I know. That's, man, awesome. Oh, man, Glover.
No, I've kind of always been a fan of Carl Roberson. I think he has an interesting skill set for the division. I've always thought he could do good things in the division. So it's more of that. I like Vettori too. He's not a bad fighter, but I think Roberson just has a little bit more upside.
Yeah. Ooh, I hope it's a good fight.
I hope so. I think it's going to be tough to beat Fili Jourdain or even Agapova Cyphers, but it could be.
Yeah.
Again, if they bring that energy.
Bring it.
Main event. Finally, we're here to this extraordinary main event between Cynthia Calvillo and Jessica Ai.
Wait a minute. Are you talking shit too?
I've talked shit about this ever since it was announced. Nothing new.
Man, come on. Give the girls their shot.
Not this time.
Come on, man.
Women, you've come this far. This is where the train stops. These two women fucked it up for you.
God damn it.
I'm totally kidding. It's just not a good fight. It's just not a. I think my biggest problem is the fact that it's 5 rounds. Like I don't need to see 5 rounds of this shit because I know it could go 5 rounds and I don't know.
I get it. I guess Calvillo actually wanted to fight in July. She was looking for an opponent in July. They picked Jessica out. They brought it to, whoever needed to hear it. And they're like, well, how about this date? And how about main eventing it? And then she took it. So what is she supposed to do? What is Jessica supposed to do?
Oh, no.
I think
I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them for taking the fight for being the main event. That's not their fault. I put that on Dana.
Yeah. I mean, we're at a point where it's like we need to, or they need to line up all these fights now because they need to make that number, right? That's hanging over their head so they can make that $400 million from Disney ESPN. So this is what we got. I guess when I was watching some of the pros pick this matchup, pick the winner of this fight, some of them were complaining too that, why didn't certain fights from the 250 card be the main event, like the Aljo fight? Why couldn't that been like the main event or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should have been a 5-rounder for sure. See, exactly. It's like there's fights like that should have, and obviously the fight ended up how it did. It ended in 2 minutes. So what's the point of a 5-rounder? But it's the principle of the matter. It's like this is worthy of 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm. So, and then I was listening to Rocco talk about this fight, and he thinks that maybe what they're trying to do is just push Cynthia in becoming the next star. This is her flyweight debut, so maybe they see something in her. Who knows what the deal is really, but I'm not sure who to pick, to be honest. I am a Cynthia fan, of course, just being from NorCal and her, training up here with Alpha Male. But just Jessica, man, she's been looking good. So I'm not sure. She's been around. She's been in this division. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think.
I am gonna go with only because for some reason I cannot get the Carla Esparza fight out of my head. Carla Esparza's win over Calvillo, and Esparza's not the greatest striker. She's a smart striker, not the best one, and she was able to outstrike Calvillo. I know Calvillo has gotten better since then, but Jessica Ai may have her issues, and her striking's not perfect, but I think it's definitely better than Calvillo's. And at this weight class, she's kind of hard to take down, so I don't see her necessarily submitting her because Ai is kind of hard to. I mean, even Miesha Tate couldn't submit her, and I think she's a way better wrestler than Calvillo. So I don't think it's going to be that easy for her.
See, I'm not a big Carla fan, and then I think Cynthia at the time, that's when she got popped for marijuana. And she was in Vegas. So I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I did see her at Protein House the day before the fight when I was in Vegas at Larissa Reyes' place. I did see her then. She looked pretty good. And then she also had like weight cutting issues too. It wasn't that's not the weight class that she actually belonged. So maybe that was also a factor. And did you know that she's with AKA now? I had no idea.
Cynthia?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna tell you. I was like, I don't think she's Alpha Male, right? I think she's been gone for like a year. I didn't know who she was with, but I didn't think it was. That's crazy because I know they're not like rivals per se, but it is across the way. I mean, she.
Yeah, she was working with Justin. She was still keeping that relationship, but it just got too hard. She ended up moving back home, down in San Jose area with her parents, and that was just the closest gym, and she's been working with them. I guess the gym shut down as soon as Khabib left, so it's been hard for her to train. But ever since, they started reopening California, she's been able to train here and there. So, I mean, I had that thought too, that maybe she didn't get a full camp because this is a late notice fight. She was targeting July. So, yeah, I just talked myself out of picking Calvillo. I'm going to go with I love that girl though. But yeah, I'm gonna go with I. I's so cringy, man. Did you see her interviews?
No, you showed me some stuff about her kind of like not naming certain fighters, but then
talking shit.
Yeah, that was okay. Just a little clarity. Yes, I know people kind of turn on her with her, being cringy in her last couple fights and stuff, and her chants and all that shit. But I really soured on her when she fought Bethe Correia. Because she fought her in Cleveland. That was like the big card of Cleveland. And her and Stipe were like the ones on that card because that was their hometown. And she's not that she's never talked shit or nothing, but she's just never been outwardly hostile. And in that, when they stared down, she like straight up pushed Bethe for no reason. Like there was no sign of hostility there, whatever. She just straight up pushed her at the weigh-ins for no reason. And it was clear. It was like, oh, it was just to get a pop from the Cleveland crowd. Like had she been in Rio, I don't think she would have done that because she didn't want the crowd to turn on her like that. So I think she just did it to get like some kind of brownie points with her peeps. And after that, I was like, man, fuck that. That shit, that's some weak shit right there. To do it only because you're in your hood, I don't like that. So that was when I kind of turned on her.
That's right. I forgot she did that to her.
And she lost too. So it was just like at the end, I was like, that's what you get.
Yeah, karma. Yeah, I guess maybe she's talking about Shijaru with all that babbling she was saying, during media day. Like she would like whoop somebody's ass, but she probably want to do in the street or something. I saw another interview where she was like talking about, oh yeah, I should be able to make weight because she's had her weight cutting issues too. But she was talking about, I should be okay. I had my period 2 weeks ago and this and that. And I'm like, do you really need to talk about this? And she started talking about men's testosterone levels and, you guys have your problems too. And she just started going on and on and on. I'm like, this is why. This is why you're not likable. You just need to shut it down sometimes. It was a simple question. Are you going to be able to make weight or not? And then she just goes on and on and on and on. And we didn't need to know that you had your girl problems 2 weeks ago.
That's the kind of girl that you talk to at the bar and 5 minutes in, you're like, fuck, what did I get myself into?
Yes, that's her. Exactly.
And I know that'd be me too, because she's got that raspy voice. And for some reason, I like chicks with raspy voices. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Gotta find a way out of this. I text you, Irene, like, come on. You gotta pretend to be a family member. There's an emergency. I gotta go.
Like, call you. Hey, man, got in an accident. Help me. Yep, I have to bail you out. Yeah, she's that broad. She'll just keep going. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I was not expecting to talk this much shit about Jessica. And we're fucking picking her. We're picking her.
But, I know. It's hard to pick her, right? But, yeah.
It is what it is, I guess. This is the climate that we're in. So that does it for the Apex card. Let's get into some headlines. First up, our girl, show favorite, Leslie Smith, is out there fighting with the people, man. Got arrested. She is doing, not saying. She is not some IG influencer trying to get brownie points, man. She's out there fighting the good fight. And God bless you, Leslie. God bless you for being about that life.
The peacemaker got arrested, yo. That's crazy, man.
Exactly. She's just trying to bring the peace, and shit gets wild sometimes.
Yep. She was at the Oakland protest, which is scary to be at, especially late at night.
Fuck, somebody got killed there on the first night or two.
I didn't know that she actually witnessed, I think it was a federal agent or a security guy that got shot. There was a shootout and they were looking for these guys, and one of them shot a federal agent. And I think she witnessed that. She didn't say specifically, but just what she was describing, I was like, oh my God.
A protester shot an agent? Well, supposedly?
Oh, it was way off. They're trying to break up this crowd, tear gas everywhere. And then, she separated and she ended up seeing this thing on the way out, trying to get back home. Jesus. So she was out there in the middle of it in Oakland.
Yeah, she is like, She is the radical leftist, and I fucking love her for it, man. Because you know
Gangster.
what, the reason that, just to get a little personal here, the reason that a lot of people, trust me, there's a lot of people on MMA Twitter and whatever that don't like Leslie because of her politics. I'm not gonna go too deep into what I agree and don't agree with, but the reason I love her, even though I may have some disagreements, is because exactly for that reason. She's about that life. She is on that front lines. What drives me crazy about people that say the shit that she does, people that say the same type of shit that she does, they're just out there fucking tweeting shit and retweeting videos and oh my god, look at this racist and look at this, and but they're never doing anything about it. They're always so appalled, but they're not doing shit about it. Leslie Smith's out there. She's kicking dudes in the balls that grab her friend's ass. She is for the people. That is her. That will always be her. That is no joke.
Yeah, I didn't know that she was out there until after she said something. She tweeted something that she was out there. I had no idea. And I was watching some of that protest going on in Oakland because I wanted to see how big it got and whatnot. Yeah, she was out there that first night. That was a scary night too. That wasn't the only protest that she went to. She went to also another one, which is in Walnut Creek. Walnut Creek is a rich area. It's safer than Oakland. Definitely safer than Oakland.
Isn't she from around that area? Isn't she from like
Yeah.
Paris or something? Or where is it?
God damn it.
Dublin? It's one
Yeah.
of those European cities that's not supposed to be here.
Yeah, Bay Area girl. So
Trains and
yeah,
stuff.
she got arrested in Walnut Creek because they weren't leaving or something.
When you train with the Diaz brothers, I mean, you gotta be a little fucked up, and you fuck. She is about that life. She gets a hood pass for real, man. Especially now.
She's gangster, dude. I love her, man. She does not get enough credit. Mm-hmm. And all she wanted to do was help you guys out with organizing a union. That's all. But now she has a bigger cause. So she has something bigger to fight for.
She gave it all up. Yep. Speaking of unions and whatnot, good segue, Reen. A lot has been made lately with Dana White and fighter pay. You mentioned earlier Sean O'Malley trying to get more money. Obviously, John Jones was a big sticking point last week. Masvidal, Conor retirement. Who knows what the fuck that means? Not even going to go into it. But people have been complaining about money. Gray Maynard has been on the record saying about how bad he got fucked over. Gray Maynard's situation's a little weird. But anyway, he was been on ESPN. He's been on these big shows, and they've questioned him about it, and he has not taken it well. I don't really know what to say about this. I mean, it's Dana saying Dana things. He's saying the right things as a businessman, but he's not looking good in the process.
No, because he's combative, but that's the way he is. That's who he is. He's never going to change. We already know this. But just listening to him and then just talking about these contracts, I didn't know Jorge actually signed like a 7-fight contract. Did you know that? 7 fights? He signed a 7-fight deal. Didn't we learn anything from Anderson Silva signing such a large contract like that? That's a long time.
One thing that the UFC rarely does is give short contracts. I mean, athletes want short contracts because it gives them that leeway. Like, okay, especially if I win my night, I have a 2-fight deal. I get 2 big fights, 2 big wins. Hey, let's talk some money. When you get a 7-8 fight contract, okay, the money's gonna go up as you win, but what, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 when you could be making 20, 30, 50, shit, 100 more?
I mean, is that the salary gap? If you do, like, I kind of want to see like what's going on there, because why is he crying about not getting what he's worth then? I mean, you signed this contract, they're offering you a deal, and now you don't want it because they're not giving you enough money? You knew kind of with his situation, I feel like you kind of knew what you were getting into because you did want that shot at Usman, and you know that he's not a draw. You knew this. So with this situation, I'm like, you should have known better.
You're talking specifically about Masvidal, right?
Yeah, with Masvidal, yes, because he's been doing a lot of the talking.
Mm-hmm. Well, he made a point that basically every fight they're trying to renegotiate, but not just to like pay you more money. They want to extend the contract, which from a business standpoint, I understand. And yeah, I'm not surprised that that is what they'd be doing. And obviously they're trying to shorten the contract to try and get to that stage to where he can negotiate. I'm starting to think in Masvidal's case, I wonder, I mean, that's what a lot of people have been criticizing about Masvidal lately, is that he would talk so much shit about Conor, yet he's following the Conor blueprint with some of the antics, the hype, and even the alcohol. And I do wonder, like, shit, maybe his liquor's selling pretty good. Maybe he's starting to see things as a businessman and not just as a fighter. And I mean, we know where John Jones is coming from with all this. I mean, he doesn't need to do shit. And to the point where, when he's talking about letting him go and take away the belt and all that, I know he means it because, well, it's not the first time he's lost the belt. It's not the first time he's lost everything. And he's been with the company enough to know what's a good deal and what's not.
Right. Yeah, that situation is different. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Like, well, why are you still chasing this Francis fight? Do you think it would be a huge fight, honestly, Juice? If they put that fight together, would it do more numbers than, I don't know, Stipe and DC going at it again?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, under these circumstances, yes. Especially because if they marketed this right, I think that's the big question is marketing. If they do it how they've been doing it right now with a month to go, I don't think you're going to get much out of it. If they were to announce tomorrow that it's going to be booked in October or November or something, you can get some real hype in there. Obviously, with the pandemic going on, nothing's guaranteed today or tomorrow. So to look that far ahead, I mean, it's saying a lot right now. But the fact that John has been looking vulnerable over the past year against light heavyweights that not a lot of people think have been that good. Not a lot of people were expecting much out of Dominic Reyes or Thiago Santos, and they took it to him. Now you're going to put a guy like Ngannou, who's a goddamn superhero and goes full world star on fools. People love Ngannou. And even if they don't know who he is, you just need to see a few highlights of the guy. Just show them the Alistair Overeem knockout and the Rosenstruck knockout, and that's all people need to see. Like, that guy's going to fight Jones? Oh, fuck, I'm in. I don't think you need a lot of marketing behind this. I really think it could be a gigantic fight, but again, to market fights, and it's actually something that I don't want to go too deep into this because we can literally spend the next half hour talking about this, and something I really want to delve into, but I've kind of wanted to explore that. Maybe we'll do it on our next episode to just have a discussion about this. Maybe we'll do a mini episode about this, or I might even write something about this, about just marketing during the pandemic. As I just said, nothing's assured, and the biggest fights is always because there's a lot of hype behind them and a lot of buildup to them, and we don't have that right now. I said before, when everything got shut down, that I might come back and just be a casual because, to be honest, even last week, aside from Nunes and Spencer, I didn't really know who was on the card. And that was a pay-per-view. That was the one that, like, when pay-per-views are on, I know at least who the main card is. I didn't know. And I know I'm not alone in this. And I know that this is going to continue to be a thing because there's no buildup in these fights. There's no big weigh-ins. There's not a lot of, the embeddeds aren't, like, super interesting. The countdown. You know what I mean? It's a weird time. I'll be honest, when Dana, although he didn't look good talking to the ESPN guys, seeing him at the post-fight presser, I was like, at the end of the day, you may not like it, but he's right. These are fucked up times, and to think that businessmen are gonna just hand money over, especially, again, as I've said a million times, as a company like Endeavor, who's in really fucking deep trouble right now, I don't see how they're gonna get anything. I really don't. I'm glad the fighters are saying something, but I don't see anything happening for them.
Me either. Like, especially right now, nobody's working. You're the only sport, well, other than NASCAR starting up, but there's nothing else going on.
You know what? On that note, sorry to cut you off, but on that note, how did NASCAR not start before the UFC? That's like the safest sport in this climate.
You got me, man.
Honestly, like, okay, you're in your own car.
Yeah.
You don't have to be at distance at all. Of course, you can die in a car crash, but I mean, obviously that's for the risk of the job. Shit, compared to a fist fight where you're half naked and grappling.
Right? I mean, they won't have anybody in attendance. Like, the pit crew would be, like, spread out like they already are anyways. They have their own, they already have their own garages and whatnot. Like, they don't have to see each other. They could just pull into a garage and be like, all right, this is us set up here.
The pit dudes can just have masks. Yeah.
Like, I have no idea.
Sorry, just tangent, but yeah, just when you brought that up, I'm like, shit, how the fuck did this happen? How were they not on the front lines? Especially
No,
in the South where they didn't, they just wanted to see sports, though. That's the fan base right there. But anyway,
yeah, I think it's just a lot to do with like negotiating, like how much they will actually pay them out because there's no actual seating sales and concession sales and merchandise and all that isn't coming into play anymore. Um, and then with that being said too, like the UFC, even though they don't have all that, they're still paying these fighters pretty good money. Like Amanda got 450,000 plus $100,000 win bonus. She's still getting paid out. That
yeah,
in
that
this economy, like you
yeah,
really can't complain where you're at. Sorry.
you know what? I'm sorry too, and I'm agreeing with you. And shit, I was making the exact same point. It sucks. It sucks, but we all want fighters to make more money. Anybody that watches the UFC as avidly as we do, we all want them to make more money, but we're all fucked right now. And if you don't believe me, we are recording this on June 11th. Look what happened to the stock market this morning. And that's just on one day that they're actually reflecting shit accurately. I mean, we are, sorry to say this, people, and I've kind of alluded to this before, but we are not in for good times right now. And that applies to the little guys, the big guys, and everyone in between. Obviously, Endeavor's kind of shitting themselves right now. And the fighters probably feel somewhat okay since they're being offered fights, but we don't know. We don't know what tomorrow holds. I know that's why some fighters, the Neil Magnies and shit, the Hannah Cyphers, are taking as many fights as they have. I'm sure they're thinking, shit, next month I might not be able to take fights. Who knows how this shit can roll back around. It's crazy times, and we want the best for the fighters, but on what kind of pedestal should we put them at?
Yeah, it's tough right now. I mean, hopefully, these new guys that are coming in, short notice fights, guys that don't really have a contract right now, maybe, negotiate a little bit more. Negotiate getting all your medicals done or whatever. If you have an injury that happens later on down the line, make sure you put that in because they do need you right now. They really do need you. So you need to negotiate smart here. They have a contract that they need to fulfill. You also have leverage in this too. The guys that are coming in or are about to have contract negotiations come up again. During this time, you have some leverage. So definitely use that.
To go on with your point, what you were saying earlier about Amanda being paid what she is and basically keeping her salary seems noble and everything. But one of the ESPN guys, I forget his name, did make a point of, oh, no one's taking a pay cut. Their salaries are staying the same. It's like, well, that's because they weren't that high to begin with. It's not much to cut when you weren't paying them that much. That was like the sickest burn that dude got in on Dana. And he really didn't have a point to say that because yeah, that's true. You're paying all your employees minimum wage. Those there you can't cut their salaries. The vice presidents and the managers and all that, you can probably cut their salaries because they're making a substantial amount more, but you can't really cut the pay for the little guys. He did have a point there, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, Dana was very upfront about shit too. He's like, man, I don't know what's gonna happen next month in my business. Like, I'm trying to do this shit day by day, and it's not rare. It's not often that I side with Dana or feel for him. I didn't feel for him with that, but it's like shit. He's right. Like every day it's always a struggle in this business anyway. I do not envy Dana's job. I do not. But as of late, it's really been compounded.
Yeah, I didn't think I would ever side with Dana either, actually, but he has a point, man, and he's trying his best to keep these fights still going. So, and yeah, this Yaz Island or whatever, like I was expecting an actual island, him buying an island and whatnot, but whatever. He figured it out. He's trying to get these international fights, international fighters to this island. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be secluded. They're the only ones that are gonna be using this, area. He's trying. He's doing it, and he's still paying his fighters out. So, I mean, hopefully they're paying for their airline tickets too. Because we had that issue with I think Chris's team, Chris Cyborg's team. They didn't pay out her plane tickets to Canada, I think, from
What the
Africa.
hell?
Yeah, from Africa, because she was like trained out in
Oh.
Africa. So maybe that was the reason why. I don't know, because it wasn't, local, stateside. So
Yeah, I think Dana, that's one. I remember one of the first things hearing when I started watching UFC, that when he would talk about the discrepancy in pay between this and boxing, he said, "Well, boxers have to basically pay everything out of pocket. We cover their flights, we cover their medicals, we cover their this and that," which is true. Well, at least I thought it's true compared to boxing, but shit, maybe they've been cutting down as of late too.
yeah, so hopefully they'll take care of that. There's a facility there too, I heard, so they can train. So they are being taken care of.
We're gonna be talking a lot about Fight Island in just a minute here, but I know you're upset because it wasn't like Fire Festival where they bought fucking.
Yeah.
But we were also considering that they may buy Jeffrey Epstein's island. So do you want this on Jeffrey Epstein's island
Not
or
anymore,
on
man.
Yaz Island
Yas Island.
where they're using slave labor for sure?
Oh shit! I gotta go there.
Take your pick, Green.
God damn it!
Slave labor or pedophile island? Gun to your head right now.
Slave labor.
Have this for the record, Rena.
Oh man, that's scary. No, I saw videos of that allegedly with little kids at that island. I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about slave labor either. But
damn it,
this is what's happening. Yeah.
I bet they're getting paid well, right? I don't know. I'm sorry if I offend anybody. I don't know much about what's going on that side. It seems like they're living large though, but I don't know.
Oh, you mean
I don't know.
Abu Dhabi and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the kings and stuff, the royalty, they're living real good, but they get those immigrants from other parts of the Middle East, and as soon as they get there, they take away their passports and here, stay here. You're gonna be fucking building this shit for the next goddamn fucking decade, sometimes years. They fuck them real good.
Damn.
Yeah, it's bad. I can't say for a fact that they did it for this one, but it's kind of been proven they've done it. And, all those nice buildings in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and oh my God, how do they do that out there in the desert? Well, because they've fucked a few people over.
Oh shit, man.
Yep.
See, God damn it, because it looks so pretty, and I'm like, how the hell did they build such a, infrastructure like that? Like, how did they do that out there?
The same way that the Chinese built hospitals in 7 days during the pandemic. Oh yeah, they just paid them real well.
God damn it.
Okay. I'll go on the record with the Chinese. I don't give a fuck.
It looks pretty, but god damn it, I don't feel good about it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if this is the shit we're gonna watch, we got to be honest about this shit, man.
Oh, yeah, that's true, man.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know if we can segue into this, but I guess it's somewhere near that part of the world. Khabib's dad, man, I always forget his name. Like Abubakar. I forget how to say it. Sorry if I'm being.
I can't say it either. I'm bad with names in the first place. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry for that.
AB.
AB. Sorry for the disrespect. I can't say it, and I never remember. But yes, Khabib Nurmagomedov's father is improving. His health is improving. Man, pretty crazy. He was in a coma, and was he like critical condition? Like it looked like he wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, for months now, couple months. Yeah,
weeks for sure, but yeah, possibly months.
Yeah, so scary. Because he was there for some heart complications with the surgery that he had, right? Yep. And then he got pneumonia, and come to find out it's COVID, and he started getting all that, and he's just, man, that's tough, man. And Khabib's still trying to get ready for a fight, still training without his dad.
Oh yeah, Gagey. What is it, like September, right? They might fight because of Ramadan and all that.
I think that's what they're eyeing for, September.
Oh, that's when he fought Poirier. We know that that's kind of Khabib's timeline. So, yeah. It was, man. Another reason, if you're big on Gagey, another reason to probably pick him, man. I know Khabib's a strong dude, but this is a lot for any man to go through.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if his dad's gonna be in his corner? So.
Yeah, even if he's healthy, right? Like shit, I can't be out there no more. That's too dangerous. Speaking of coronavirus, again, popping up in the news. That's just still out there, people. Don't forget it. Mikaela Mayer, a female boxer, very promising boxer, supposed to fight earlier this week, got pulled because she had tested positive for COVID-19. Likewise, Ian Heinisch's cornerman, which we had mentioned earlier, one of his cornermen had tested positive for COVID-19, but it looks like they were false positives. This is opening a can of worms that I don't even know where to start here.
That's so sad, man. Mikaela, if you don't know who she is, she used to train Ronda back in the day too. She was part of her camps.
Really? I did not know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
She has a connection with Taverdian, or just because she was, because I know she I don't know if she grew up or lived in LA for a while. I don't know if she still does, but I know she's from the area.
Yeah, she was helping out Ronda, and I think she's the one that's had to sign the NDA too.
For what?
Not talk about if they sparred or not, or
oh god.
Yeah, I think Raquel Pennington was another one too that had to sign it. But yeah, during all that time, she was one of the training partners. So if y'all didn't know or recall her name, yeah.
There's no way those sessions went well for Ronda. No way. Mikaela is so fucking good.
I know. That's why I was surprised. I'm like, Ronda's boxing?
You know what's even weirder in Mikaela's case? Like, obviously, we talk shit about this all the time on the show about girls like Rachel Ostovich who get by on their looks and aren't the most skilled. Mikaela Mayer is beautiful, and she can fucking fight. It's amazing she's not like a Ronda Rousey level star in the world of boxing. I don't know. I guess it's just that inherent misogyny in boxing or whatever. We're always talking about this. Like they still are fighting 2-minute rounds.
Oh shit. I totally forgot she was actually helping Ronda out with Amanda Nunes.
Well,
yeah, didn't go too well.
Yeah.
That was back in 2016. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. It sucks, man, because is she the co-main event? And
she was. I think she was I'm pretty sure she was on the main card. She's been on the undercard, I think, for like almost all her fights. But this was a big fight for her. The girl, I forget her name, is a Jamaican girl, but she has a pretty good record. I think she was like 17-2, like more experienced than her, hard hitter from what I can tell. But yeah, she got pulled. She had one positive test and they just pulled her right away. They didn't retest her. She went to her doctor and she had blood work done and she tested positive for the antibodies, but the COVID test was negative. So she hasn't taken an actual COVID test since then. The blood work is pretty conclusive, but I guess she needs to take one more just to show that it was false positive. But a little late now because that fight is come and gone.
God damn, that's so fucking. She already had a fight canceled, and then this was rebooked. So that sucks, man. It wasn't her fault.
How weird is it though that I mean we have our problems with boxing and there's so much politics in it. And I know they're doing it for safety's sake, and you and I take this shit very seriously with the pandemic, but it's just crazy to say that in this case the UFC did the better job. Well, yeah, even for safety, because it's like, yeah, you don't want to take away Heinisch's paycheck, and he did nothing wrong and shit. Not even his cornerman. His cornerman probably wouldn't have done anything wrong either, but they're not even to blame here. It wasn't even they weren't even sick.
Yeah. The retesting, they should have did the retesting, and that's what UFC is doing, making, precautions, making sure they trace everybody, right? Isolate, test, retest again. Damn, dude, like they just said, okay, you're done. Get out of here. I don't even think she got paid. I don't think they paid her out.
Nah, it's hard to imagine. Yeah, especially that she wasn't the main event or nothing. Yeah.
Damn, that sucks.
I know. I don't know. Just the times, I guess. What can you do?
So see, that's another thing. Like you really can't go anywhere but stay with the UFC. There's no other.
In regards to the other fight, yeah. It's kind of weird. People are pulling that move, right? Like, let me go. It's like, well, where are you gonna go? I mean, at that point, just don't fight because no one else is going to have you either, no matter how bad they want you, because no one has shows.
No, like Bellator, we haven't heard anything about Bellator, right? They're not going to start up. There's some chat about Combate because I know some of the coaches or fighters up here are talking about fighting for Combate, and they might be fighting in July, but nothing's come out yet.
Invicta are starting soon, but we're going to talk about that in the matchup segment. That's coming up pretty soon here. But, they're out in Missouri. Those were the people out in the Ozarks. So, yeah, not too surprising. But anyway, yeah, that was that. I guess we'll leave that story there because then we can just go into the whole thing of regarding the pandemic and false negatives and false positives and society in general with that and spiking cases, and that's no kind of fun right now. So let's go with our last headline of the biggest fight in boxing being booked in the near future. Tyson Fury is gonna fight Anthony Joshua for all the marbles sometime next year, it looks like, because Fury is still obligated to give Wilder a rematch, and Joshua is obligated to take on a mandatory challenger. So should they both get by those fights, that is the next fight that should be going up. It's hard to say because I guess the common wisdom would say that Anthony Joshua has the easier fight here and the is more the secure bet to get there, but he lost to Andy Ruiz. And then Fury's taking on a dangerous guy in Wilder, but he beat him so dominantly in the last fight. It's kind of hard to not see him do it again because Wilder is not going to get that good that soon.
I don't know what to make of this. Like, that's great that they agreed. So there is a 2-fight deal contract that they signed? Is that what this is? They actually signed it even though they're not sure what the outcome of the fights that both the fighters are going to...
Yeah, I don't know if you can call that a contract. Maybe it's just some type of agreement. Like,
okay,
should these things happen? Because how can you bind someone to a contract when the outcome in between that is not certain,
Right. Like, we don't know. What if Wilder does something crazy? What if Joshua loses?
Again.
We'll see, man. I mean, it's cool. I want to see it. It should happen, but who knows when we get to see it too. That's another thing.
I saw someone tweet this about how hopefully the pandemic blows over soon and people are able to go back to sporting events sooner rather than later, and if they both win and get the fight next year, to see a fight like this in a Wembley, holy shit!
Wow.
Like Wembley that's the way to do it. I mean, in a perfect world, all that money, all those people, that big of a stage, that needs to be in Europe. I mean, I know America wants all the big fights. I know Vegas wants all the big fights, but that needs to be in a stadium.
Yeah.
Because they love Joshua over there and they love Fury. Like, they will sell that shit out in minutes. I guarantee you.
Yeah, that fight definitely belongs there.
Obviously, we'll see what happens. It's tough to know anything right now, as we keep saying, but in a perfect world, that would happen. That would be dope, especially if that comes around the time when things are actually starting to open up and we can kind of go back to normal life. If that's the one that opens shit up, oh man, we're gonna see some big events following it. I think so. Yeah. So we'll see. Well, hopefully this we still ended up seeing Wilder and Fury, the rematch, and some people thought that wasn't gonna happen. We'll see what happens here. That does it for headlines, though. Let's get into the matchup segment. And yes, this comes with with the Fight Island news. Fight Island is real, as we were talking about earlier. It's happening in Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, and a lot of fights have been booked there. Biggest one of which is the UFC 251 card. 3 title fights. All fights that we were speculating on have basically been confirmed. Kamaru Usman will fight Gilbert Burns in the main event. Alexander Volkanovski will fight Holloway in a rematch, and Peter Yan will fight Jose Aldo for the vacant bantamweight belt.
God damn.
I don't know what the co-headliner is. I don't know if it's Volkanovski or if it's Aldo. I'm gonna assume it's Volkanovski, but these are the 3 big fights for that event. We've talked about Yan and Aldo. We kind of talked Volkanovski, Holloway. So Usman Burns. Now it's been confirmed. What do you think, Green?
I don't know yet.
That's kind of how I feel. Too soon for Burns. Like, not too soon, like he can't handle it, but too soon, like just time-wise.
Yeah.
What, a month, basically? A month?
Yeah.
5 weeks?
It's going to be a tough fight.
Usman did have a war with Colby. I mean, I know that's going on 6 months now, but
Hmm.
I know he broke his jaw and everything. But man, Covington landed a lot, man, and I know he's not a power puncher, but he did hurt Usman too. That wasn't just a thing of him knocking him out. He hurt Usman too. Those are the type of fights that age you because a lot of offense, not a lot of defense, and just a lot of volume.
Yeah, and Usman, he's had, injuries, you know, his knee problems and whatnot, right? So I just wonder, can he keep up with Burns? Especially now, like you said, with the war that he had with Cody or Kobe. I don't know. And just Burns is just a wild man. Like he's just constantly ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting, man. I dig it. I like this fight better than the Jorge fight, to be honest with you. Now that I'm looking at this.
Yeah, me too. And I don't know. Is it just the whole contract negotiation shit that we're kind of like
Not
souring on him? Because I see a lot of people saying that, and I don't know if I agree with them, but maybe I do. I don't know.
maybe not that. It's just I guess there's levels to this, and Usman's just on a different level.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, if Gilbert Burns were to fight Masvidal, I think I'd favor Burns.
I
Like,
think so too. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but that's where if I had to bet, that's who I'd bet on.
Yep. So I wonder who Jorge's gonna fight now. Connor? Dangle that carrot?
Yeah, and it seems like I mean he keeps on saying, "Oh, they don't want me to fight him. They don't want me to fight him." But obviously he wants the big fight. Obviously he wants the money fight. That would shit. Maybe this is his whole plan. I'll price myself out of that fight so they can give me the proper money for the Connor fight. But Connor supposedly retired, so who the fuck knows? And shit, maybe that's a thing on his end too. Like I'll fake retire again. That way they'll try and give me more money to fight someone like Masvidal, which everyone wants to see.
Yeah, I don't see him retiring. I think it's just another play. He always does this. He's the goat of announcing retirements.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's just, yeah, and he just always has to be an asshole and just do it on a fight night.
Uh, to me, that just seems like the easiest way to go about it. It's just he does this, yeah, people know it, but it gets the casuals talking.
Oh, for
And then
sure.
once they know, it's like, oh shit, he might fight that guy. Okay, we need to see him. We need to see him, and then they start clamoring for it.
Did anybody check on MMA Baller after the retirement was announced?
Shit, he probably gave him the idea.
They're not paying you for what you're worth, champ. They don't appreciate you.
Uh-huh.
I'm the only one that loves you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, not even D Devlin loves him like he does.
All right. That shit's funny.
And that's true love on MMA Baller's part, because D Devlin at least got that money.
Yeah, like he goes hard, man.
He just does it out of pure unconditional love. I want someone to love me the way MMA Baller loves me.
Huh.
I need to have a talk with my lady because she ain't loving me that hard. I feel appreciated now. Yeah. Going away from that fight, another huge fight announced. This seems to be just a fight night card, but Holly Holm will be fighting Irene Aldana at a UFC Apex event. Will be headlining on August 1st. This is a fight that you and I don't know if we ever talked about it on the show, but I know we've talked about it a lot off air of how good and how appropriate this fight would be. And it's finally here.
Yes, everything's going according to plan. No, we did talk about this, I believe, on air.
Yeah, I think you may have brought it up because I think it was one of those like, oh shit, that's a really good idea. That'd be a really good fight.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited. Like when I send it to you, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited for this. Like finally, something to be like excited about.
okay, it's safe to say, obviously everyone knows I am, but I think it's safe to say even you, we're big Irene Aldana marks on the show, right?
Yes. Yes, that's
If
correct.
if Holly Holm beats her and like beats her decisively, you
My
gonna give
god.
Holly any credit?
No.
God damn, Urine.
Too bad you can't hear my like eye roll. The biggest eye roll, dude.
It's it's fucked up because obviously I'm a bit of a Holly fan. I've made no bones about it here, but I do got to give credit to G on Twitter, G from World TV. I think she said something like, Holly Holm could win 18 fights in a row, and I still wouldn't want her to fight for the title.
Seriously, like
She's had so many. It's like the boy who cried wolf. She's had so many. Like, fuck, we don't want to see it anymore. We're done.
no,
It's fucking...
no. I don't want to see 5 rounds of you. Yeah. No, I'm good. The same shit every fucking time. You don't show us nothing new. Yeah, I'm excited for this. Aldana's young. This will be a huge step up for her, and she deserves it. Especially the last fight she had. She fought. What's her name? God damn, I forgot her name. Yes, she finally came back and she knocks her out.
And I'll be honest, although I am a Holly fan, I know her skill set, and I know Ketlin is not, wasn't the greatest striker, but I do think she was more dangerous than Holly, and I think she presented probably a more dangerous skill set to someone like Aldana. This is going to be a pure striking match, which there's no reason why it shouldn't be. We know Holm likes to clinch here and there, and I think Aldana's big and strong enough to kind of get out of that. This should be Aldana's fight for the taking, but I don't know. Holly Holm does Holly Holm shit sometimes.
Can't wait. They're both about the same size. They're strong. Yeah. It's a good matchup. I cannot wait.
And Aldana, when you back her against the wall, that's when she seems to do her best. Her first fight in the UFC was Leslie Smith, and God damn it! I mean, she clearly lost that fight, but she gave it her all. And you even see like the Pujilova fight when a girl presses her like that. I know Holly Holm does not have that style, but just given headlining all that pressure, I think she shines during moments like that. I think she'll do good here. Another gigantic fight being announced for UFC 252, taking place August 15th at a location to be determined. The trilogy fight, Stipe and DC, is happening at that event. Looks to be headlining. It's been 3 years now. Yeah, the first fight was 2018, second fight was 2019. And Stipe at this point will have fought DC 3 times in a row. Like, no opponents in between. That's fucking nuts, man.
I don't.
The balls on that dude, man. Say what you want about DC. That's like my brother. He was in a few street fights in his day, and he's told me that he fought the same dude 3 times, and I just clowning him like, why? What do you have to prove at that point? I give Stipe credit because, man, I know they're getting paid and stuff, but still, you lost one, you won one. Now we know for sure.
I don't know about this one. Why DC? Why? He was
beating the shit out of Stipe.
Yeah.
If you look at they fought 5 rounds now, basically. DC's beating the shit out of him for like 3 of those 5 rounds. But those last 2 rounds in that last fight was, what changed history. It's just so close to call. You could be the biggest DC mark or the biggest Stipe fan. You can never be too confident when these two face each other because they bring out the best of one another.
I hope DC fixes his like emotional issues, just keep that in. And fight smarter this time? Because Stipe has no problem with that. He's a firefighter.
Yeah.
He's always under pressure, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a totally different animal.
He is the definition of stoic. I mean, it doesn't help that he's American, but Croatian background. So he has that Eastern European stoicism, and he's a firefighter. So yeah, he's just ice cold.
So that's going to be a tough task. But I mean, here we are. Okay. I'm not sure what to think yet. I'm excited that, we get to see DC fight again. Because he's lovable. Come on, man. It's DC. But Steve A is like so tough. So, shit, man. And I just don't want him to go out like that. If he loses, it's like, okay, he's going to lose. Another loss, no belt, retire.
Yeah.
I don't want him to finish like that. And I don't think he wants to either. Of course not. So, it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah. And a couple more fights. Those are the big ones. But there's a fight card taking place next week, June 20th at the Apex again. Some fights have been announced for that. Roosevelt Roberts is making a quick turnaround. He's going to fight Jim Miller. That is a crazy fight. And Clay Guida is going to be fighting Bobby Green, in which I don't even know how that fight's going to go, but I'm pretty sure it'll be madness. So,
how the hell did they get these two fights on the same card?
Yeah, they're really good fights. Really good fights. And, man, I know Roosevelt Roberts is gonna have a step up, and I know Jim Miller's not who he once was, but still, this is big, man. This is a big
Yeah.
step up. This is a giant test.
Damn, that's wild, man.
I think he can do it, but can never count on Jim Miller ever.
Ah, okay, June 20th. Cool.
And Clay Guida and Bobby Green. I mean, Bobby Green's just.
That's another one.
I mean, he is probably the most hood dude in the UFC, and Clay Guida has always been Clay Guida. Should be interesting. A couple more fights. One last UFC fight. Mark Casey's back. He's gonna be fighting Alan Patrick.
Yes.
At Fight Island, happening on July 18th. I'm trying to remember who Alan Patrick fought last. I think he had a good win. I don't remember, but Casey, was it Joe Duffy the last one? It's been a while, right?
Shit, no, he fought somebody else again.
He did?
I thought he did.
Because I remember he beat Duffy because we weren't really expecting him to win that one.
Duffy, he fought Duffy, and wasn't that the one that he saved his contract on?
Yes. I remember talking about that one, but I think that was the last fight. I could be wrong.
No, he fought Londo.
Oh.
Yeah, he fought him back in September.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Patrick is one of those guys too that not a lot of people know him, but kind of hard to look good against him. If you look good against Patrick, like you're like a legit contender. So should be interesting. Some Invicta news. They're back. An event will be taking place July 2nd. Invicta FC 40. Headliner is Juliana Lima versus Emily Ducote. That should be a really fun fight. Both scrappy women. And then our girl, Alessia Zapatella, is going to be taking on Lindsay Van Zandt, who is also, she's a bit of a savage herself. She's skinny little girl, but has a ton of fight in her. And obviously, Alessia half pint, stocky girl, but man, a lot of power, a lot of skill. Should be some good fights here.
She's making her way back to Invicta, huh? Because she was in Japan fighting, right?
She had one fight in Ryzen, possibly two. I think one fight. Oh, okay. And then I think Lindsay had one too, although I don't know if that was her last fight. She's fought in Japan too. And I think she fought in Bellator for a minute there too. So she's kind of been all over the place.
Cool.
And
nice.
Ducote's been looking decent as of late. And yeah, Juliana Lima, she was in the Invicta Phoenix Rising tourney. So yeah, this should be some good fights. Finally, when's the last time Invicta came around? It's December? I think it's been like 6 months. Yeah, I think it's been like 6 months since I've seen an Invicta card. So
yeah,
about damn time. That does it for MMA. We're gonna get into our news story of the week. Headline is LA schools police will return grenade launchers but keep rifles and armored vehicle. So yeah, the police that guard the schools here in my hometown of Los Angeles, for some reason, have grenade launchers, armored vehicles, and a bunch of rifles. But they're doing the right thing of returning those grenade launchers. 3 grenade launchers that they have in their station somewhere. Obviously, a lot of protests going on against this type of shit. Police militarization, and why they have this. I understand this is America and there are school shooters, but even then, I do not think you need basically a fucking tank and a grenade launcher to take down some 16-year-old kid with a shit. Even if he had a fully automatic weapon, I'm pretty sure you can take him.
I mean, out of school.
Yeah.
Right? Out of school. What if there's kids in there? Like, what are you gonna do? There's no negotiating. You really need that fucking power? You already got it.
I wonder if it's like just a scare tactic. Like, look, motherfucker, we're out here. We got tanks. We got grenade launchers. Put your gun down and stop the shit. I mean, that's the only way you could go about it. Like, okay, we will be peaceful just because look at all the fucking weapons we have.
I have no idea. It still costs people money. It costs taxpayers money.
Well, this is apparently a surplus from military equipment. So, my personal opinion, there's obviously legit criticisms of the police and the judicial system in this country. But I think this goes back to the military industrial complex too. How much money they have, how much money they use. They have so much fucking money that they just said, let's just give this to some of the cops around the country because we just have way too much of them. Let's give them grenade launchers for whatever goddamn reason. No questions asked.
That's like giving a baby a gun. They don't know how to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know how to handle things that are happening right now. Peaceful protesters, they don't even know how to handle that. They're shooting these fucking kids, man, on the street with tear gas and rubber bullets. These kids are going blind. They have their hands up. Can you imagine coming in with a tank at an elementary school with fucking little kindergartners and first graders and like, it's what? I don't understand. Just because it's left over, destroy it. Use it for scraps. Melt it down, recycle it, get rid of it. That is so fucking insane. And then you're going to be like, oh, here's this, but I'm going to keep this.
This just caught I mean, obviously it's ridiculous and we cover ridiculous headlines in this segment, but it just really opened my eyes. This is something that since I was a teenager, I've been staunchly against the military industrial complex. And obviously police brutality is the hot topic right now, but it's like, shit, even in this, you still have to go back to the military industrial complex. This is also at the root of it. You can't address police militarization and police brutality without addressing that. There's so much goddamn money that goes into that branch of the government that it seeps over into the civilian world.
I don't understand. You have this money, this amount of money, basically fuck you money, right? You have all this money, but yet these teachers have to buy their own material because they don't get paid enough. They don't get enough funding. They have to go and get their own like glue and like, materials, everyday shit that kids need. Like, they ask for donations. I donate all the time. I try to help out as much as I can. It's just sad, man.
Exactly.
That's not. It ain't right. It's not right. They really do need to figure out what's going on. Defund the police, right? Is that what we're doing?
Well,
is that what they're trying to?
That's what they're trying to do. And I understand with how little money goes to other shit and how much money goes to the police. That's understandable. But again, if you think the police get a lot of money, look at the budget for the military. It is insane. And again, I think you want to talk about systemic issues. There is also that. You take care of one, whether you take care of the police first and you look at the military later, or start looking at the military now and address that as well. They're connected. And I know it's been touchy lately, especially because there's been talk of the military out in the streets, and that's been a big sticking point with a lot of people. But still, that's the whole point of this. It's like, we don't talk much about the military industrial complex because, they're overseas doing damage in other countries. How does it affect us? Well, it looks like it's affecting us now.
That's wild, man. They just need to just look at all this and allocate funds where they need to go. This is so gross. It's inappropriate. There's a lot of things that are being uncovered. I mean, it's good and bad with this pandemic. Hopefully shit will get fixed now, because it ain't right, man. That's scary, man. We don't have that. I hope we don't have that kind of shit going up here in NorCal.
You are in the capital, Rain.
That's true.
They need to protect Newsom.
Especially now. He's under fire, so.
Yep.
Crazy shit, man.
I still think apparently this goes back to 1997, which obviously is alarming, but I think there is some significance to that. Here, especially if you guys are young, you may not know this, and this did make national news, but it was obviously huge here in Los Angeles. There was the North Hollywood shootout, which I think took place in 96 or 97. I want to say that is why they've had this type of gear for this long, because that opened the country's eyes that the police at that point were not very well suited for certain scenarios, like men with assault rifles out in the street, because they were basically just taking on them with 9mm, and they had to wait on SWAT and all that. But at the end of the day, although people did get hurt, nobody was killed aside from the shooters. So as bad as that was, and as terrifying as it was, no one got seriously hurt or killed. But I think people freaked out, and that's still the remnants of it. They had this gear and shit. Maybe at the time they thought a grenade launcher would be good, but why this is in the school police department, fucking beyond me.
Yeah, I don't understand. And that was 97. It's been a while, dude. There's no audits to be like, okay, do we need this equipment? Maybe we should recycle it. I don't know, get rid of it and get something else. Like, I don't understand that. It's been a minute.
The whole auditing thing is a whole other subject. There's a lot of things that are not audited in this country, and had they been, we would find out a lot more uglier truths that we're finding out right now. Whether you want to talk about military, financially, police work, nothing good comes of that as far as what you find out. It's just what you tend to do with it, and there's no transparency in this country, and that is clear.
Yeah.
Clear now more than ever.
Yeah, this pandemic is just uncovering so much. So I mean, it's still out there. There's a surge, I guess, going on right now in certain parts of the country. So enjoy what we have right now. Enjoy the fights that we have right now, because who knows how long it's gonna last.
Yeah, don't go. We're gonna end it here, but I will say this: and although we don't go into, we give you guys our peace of mind, and obviously we're giving you our opinions in social matters and things like this. Don't dive too deep like me. You start getting to shit about the economy and possible future scenarios, and oh my god, it makes you just want to put a gun in your mouth. It is fucking frightening, and I am not even joking about this, but.
Yeah.
Just keep your eyes open. There's some shit ahead. To tie it back to MMA, Dana White did say something that I guess that's why I agreed with him in one way or another after this whole thing was done. He said, the worst is yet to come. All these people telling you, oh, we're going to be good. We're going to be good. Do not listen to them. I'm not saying you have to listen to Dana White, but at this point, I'd rather listen to what he said because he's being more sensible than the people that think this is all going to be good. I would just leave that there.
Yeah, agreed.
Sorry, we couldn't make too much fun of that when, there's military grade weapons in schools. There's not a lot to joke about there as hard as we may try. But hey, we live in a ridiculous world and in a scary world. So I guess at the very least, it needs to be addressed. Thank you guys for listening. Like, share, subscribe, do whatever you can to help out the podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Juice_MMA. Green.
Fox with you on Instagram and Twitter.
And you can follow the podcast at iFoxWithJuice. iTunes, or I guess Apple Podcasts now, Spreaker, Spotify, SoundCloud, everywhere podcasts are. Just type us in, you'll find us. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.
See you.